Alright guys, so I just pulled up to the spot. Right now the wind is out of the west-southwest, and that's going to set up perfect for this spot that I gave an example of. They'd actually forecasted for it to be out of the northwest, but that didn't happen. So I'm about to walk down. Just want to give you guys a real quick look at what's going on as far as the wind. So right over here behind me, that's going to be east. So right here is going to be south. So I'm about to head down here to these beds and get some quick readings. It says it's 30 degrees right now. I had 29 in the truck, and you can see this temperature swing. I mean, it's a massive temperature swing. So there's the temperature swing right now. It's right about 30 degrees, and it's supposed to get up to about 75 today. So we'll see what all we end up with. All right. So this is a little cedar, a couple little cedars together. I'm just gonna check the temp up under it. See the little so around 33, 34 degrees. All right, I'm pretty sure this is the area that I was in last year. I'm gonna jump these deer up. See, it's going straight out and down. This side's gonna heat up first because of the sun right there. I'm gonna set up my tripod and then go see if I can't find one of these beds. All right, so I'm just about, well, you can see my bag up there. I'm only about 15 or 20 yards away from it. And basically I just walked down here to where I found the bed last year. Let's see if we can't find there. So there's there. I'm just going to hit this real quick. It says it's 18 degrees. I found that hard to believe. So this is something interesting. Watch this. I would have thought that the pine straw would have been more of an insulator against the cold ground, but if you look at this, it's almost 30 degrees right there. All right. Now watch this. 18. That's almost 10-degree difference from bare ground to what I would assume would have been more of an insulation. That's crazy. What's your guess right here? You might be surprised. Almost 50 degrees. $20-degree difference. So about 400 or 500 yards up there on the hill, that's where I was at. And you can see transitions over to hardwoods out here with some pines up there on that hilltop. And then along the bottom down here, it's thick cedar. We'll get down there in just a minute and we'll go see if we can't find that other bed. Alright, so this is still out in the open out here. Just gonna drop one real quick. 28.4, 28.8, 28, 29 degrees. $33. $25, $26. It's just an 8-degree temperature. Ground being warmer. Alright, so far I've been really actually surprised. I did not think the ground would necessarily be as warm as some of the pine straw. I guess it makes sense because it's closer to the air, and so you get some of that moisture maybe in the airflow, kind of like the bridge effect. You know, it usually ices over a lot quicker. I know this has been discussed a bunch on, well, I won't say a bunch on the Hunting Beast, but a good bit has been discussed on thermal hubs, how you set up to catch these deer going to these thermal hubs. Alright, so for imagination's sake, let's pretend that this is where you were hunting over here. You're in the sun. Pretend it's an evening. The sun is over here. It's setting behind this ridge, and what's going to happen is your thermals are still picking up right here. They're going to lift straight up. You still got this whole hillside covered in sun, but that side over there is already dropping down. So those deer are getting ready to go ahead and drop down. So what you can do is drop down and intersect them. As soon as you start seeing that hillside go in shade, go ahead and drop down, find your creek crossing, maybe find your rub, something like that. You know, if this is where I was setting up and this was my crossing right here, what I would do is I would set up just 20 or 30 yards this side. And essentially what I'm doing, I expect the deer to drop from that side over there. You can see how thick it is. That deer's not going to be able to see me when I drop down this hill. If I'm quiet enough, I should be good. My scent is still going to be carried up that hill right there because of the thermals. That side's going to be dropping down. Alright. So if my thermals are dropping down, you know, I'm down here closer to the creek now. The closer I get to this creek, the more these thermals are going to be pulling down at dark. So what's going to happen is they're going to go with the flow of the water. They're going to start up there, they're going to flow down. So I'm going to position myself. If I know that deer's coming from over there and he's going to meet up and cross that creek right there and come back up this hillside to feed on acorns, I'm going to set up right here, because my scent, even though there's no wind, say at dark, it's going to be pulling down with those dropping thermals, because it's going to be pulling up down here, down at the very bottom. So this is where I would set up, catch him coming across, and perfectly broadside. His attention is going to be at that crossing. It's not going to be where I'm at up here on this hillside. So all of my scent's going to be coming this way down or this way up. So I've just spent the better part of, I'd say, an hour. No, hour and a half, 2 hours looking for this stupid thermometer, and I could not find it. But I finally gave up and figured, you know, I just threw away $30 and headed back up to get my tripod and my camera arm. And then, lo and behold, what do I find? But at least I can finish this experiment now. It is 9:20 in the morning though. So 9:20 in the morning, I'm still at the lower elevation, and I'm just going to test this leaf. "91 degrees, 93 degrees, 9:20 in the morning. 2 hours difference. And there's about 50 degrees worth of difference in ground tip. Now, let's just go ahead and dig away the dirt like we did earlier. "63, 66, 66 degrees. So now there's a 25-degree difference in the top and the bottom. That's on this side over here. We're at this bed that we found earlier at this lower elevation. Underneath the leaves, 51, 52 degrees. "54, not much difference here. Again, we're in the shade, so the temps here are kind of holding steady. I'm back up top. It's back up top, and it's 9:50 a.m. This is about the time they should start moving. Go ahead and look at this bed. See what we got. 60.6. Some bed that hadn't been used recently. So I'll set up at the the 1/3 elevation, and it's about 15 after 10 right now. I'm just listening to the birds. That is one key thing. Birds. Once you hunt enough and you see how the other animals interact, you realize these birds, they're key to realizing that a deer is coming in, especially if you're a ground hunter like I am. The blue jays are one of the top ones that I listen to, and they'll start cutting up. If there's anything moving through the woods, usually they'll give me a heads up with the deer, and so I'll become more alert and be looking for those deer. If you hear them really cut up big time, usually that's some kind of predator like a bobcat. I hear these birds cutting up over here. It's getting to the good time now. About the next 15, 30 minutes or so. Top notch stuff. Something's here. I don't know what it is, but I can hear something behind me. Probably about 30 yards. This bird right here, if you can hear it. So this bed is 90 degrees. This area right here is 60 degrees. That's a huge difference in temperature. Just 6 feet from each other. So if you were walking through here, I mean, it would be very, very difficult to find a bed unless you really have, been doing your scouting and know what to look for. Like this spot right here, for instance. Somebody else may just be walking by and not realize, but if you look real close, you see how these ferns are laid down flat. That was, my only indicator that this could be a bed. Sure enough, you walk up to it and it's full of your hairs. I don't know if you can see all of them, but same kind of thing with this. I mean, all of that ground looks to be the same, just a little bit cleared out though. You don't see as much green shrub right here. And sure enough, here's your bed. So, looking around for areas, and then this looks a little bit flattened out, a little bit bare. It's probably a bed. Sure enough. This spot right here feels pretty cool right now. 66 degrees. I'm in shade right now. It's a little bit flattened out right here. More suitable for bedding. That thermal tunnel transition, not transition, but just that thermal tunnel is just right up there. Here's a recent bed. You can tell by all the hair on top. Now it's blazing hot right here. I mean, I'm starting to sweat. .7. Now, if a deer was really cold, this would be the spot right here. I mean, midday, I mean, he's catching some rays right here. 107 degree, 100.7 degrees. That's pretty impressive. And it's 11:20. Now, back in the hunting season, I got busted by a deer right in here. I was off in that tree right there. You can see it, it's not the pine, but whatever kind of tree that is off in the distance, probably about, I don't know, 75 yards. And what I was doing is I was hunting those beds down there. I was hunting this southwest wind, but the deer weren't down there. When I climbed up, I got busted by a deer in here. And I'm assuming this is probably where it was bedded. Looks like another flat spot right here. This could be doe bedding. I'm not sure. And most likely is doe bedding. A little tube, a little hair. A little bit more. And this is on the thermal tunnel. Those other beds were just below down there, and then one back up here. They're usually about 20 yards or so off of these main travel routes. That way if something comes down through here, then you're not busted right away. Instead, more than likely they're going to bust you. Just to give you an idea again, this is a hot spot. Hundred and 108, 109 degrees. I can jump 5 foot from there to there. I can already feel the difference. 65 degrees. This was not here this morning. I mean, it's still wet. Right on this trail that I walked in on this morning. Looks like a buck too. When I came up, he probably came out the backside, and that's what all of those birds up behind me were hollering at, is this deer right here, sneaking out the back door. Definitely listen to those birds. They tell you a lot. We're back at the same little group of cedars out here by themselves. I'm just going to throw down outside, see what kind of reading we get. 107, 110. '64, '67. So what it seems like is these cedars, they have a better mean average, I guess. They have a better average temperature. This morning it was one of the warmest locations, and then up into the day it's one of the coolest locations. So it appears that there's a lot of benefit to these cedar